The air grows still as the sun dips below the horizon, casting the surface of a tranquil lake in shades of gold and deep blue. Mist rises, curling like ghostly fingers over the water, and in that quiet moment, it's easy to feel the presence of something ancient, something watching. For centuries, cultures around the world have whispered stories of beings that dwell in these depths, guardians or predators, depending on who you ask. Are they the protectors of nature, guiding the flow of rivers and the rise of tides, or are they ominous forces waiting to drag the unwary into their watery realms? Across mythologies, water spirits embody this duality, life-givers and destroyers, symbols of renewal and fear. Today, we'll journey through these legends, unraveling the mysteries of these enigmatic beings and their enduring influence. From the nurturing Naiads of ancient Greece to the terrifying Nymphs of European folklore, we'll explore how water spirits have shaped human imagination. And as we dive deeper, you might just discover how their echoes still ripple through the stories we tell today. Stay with us. This is a tale as deep and unpredictable as the waters themselves. From the dawn of human storytelling, water has been more than just a physical element. It has been a source of awe, mystery, and reverence. The earliest myths about water spirits emerge from the cradle of civilization itself, Mesopotamia. Here, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers were not just lifelines for agriculture, but also the domains of powerful deities. Enki, the god of water and wisdom, was believed to control the flow of these rivers, bringing fertility to the land and knowledge to humanity. Yet, even Enki had a darker side, as his waters could also flood and destroy, reminding people of the dual nature of water, both nurturing and perilous. In ancient Egypt, the Nile River was the lifeblood of the kingdom, and its annual floods were seen as a divine gift. The goddess Tefnut, associated with moisture and rain, embodied the life-giving essence of water. Yet, the Egyptians also feared the chaos of the primordial waters, represented by the god Nun, a vast, dark expanse that existed before creation. This duality, water as both a creator and a force of chaos, became a recurring theme in their mythology, shaping their understanding of the world and the spirits that governed it. The Greeks, too, wove water into their myths with intricate symbolism. The Naiads, nymphs of freshwater springs and rivers, were seen as gentle protectors of their domains, offering healing and blessings to those who honored them. But water could also be a place of danger, as seen in the myth of the sirens, who lured sailors to their doom with their enchanting songs. These stories reveal how water spirits were not just personifications of natural forces, but also reflections of humanity's complex relationship with the unknown. What ties these ancient myths together is the symbolic connection between water and the mysteries of existence. Water is fluid, ever-changing, and unpredictable qualities that mirror the human experience of life and death, creation and destruction. This duality gave rise to water spirits that could be both benevolent and menacing, embodying the awe and fear that water inspires. These early stories laid the groundwork for countless interpretations of water spirits across cultures, each adding new layers to their symbolism and significance. As we move forward in our exploration, we'll see how these ancient roots blossomed into a rich tapestry of legends, from the Nymphs of European folklore to the mischievous Rusalki of Slavic tales. Each culture adapted the concept of water spirits to reflect its own values, fears, and understanding of the natural world. But the echoes of those early myths remain, reminding us that water, in all its forms, has always been a source of wonder and a mirror to the human soul. As we turn our gaze to the gentler side of these mystical beings, it's impossible not to marvel at how often water spirits have been seen as guardians of the natural world. In many cultures, they were not just inhabitants of the water, they were its caretakers, its voice, and its lifeblood. Take the Greek Naiads, for instance. These freshwater nymphs were believed to reside in springs, rivers, and lakes, and they were deeply connected to the health and vitality of their domains. To the ancient Greeks, a clear, bubbling spring wasn't just a source of water. It was a sacred place infused with the presence of a Naiad who could bless the land with fertility or heal those who drank from her waters. These spirits were so revered that offerings were often left at their shores, a gesture of gratitude and respect for their life-giving powers. In Slavic folklore, the Ruzalki held a similar, though more complex, role. Often depicted as beautiful maidens with long, flowing hair, they were said to emerge from rivers and lakes during the spring and early summer, bringing with them the promise of new growth and abundance. Farmers would pray to them for rain, and young women would seek their favor for fertility and healthy crops. The Ruzalki were seen as protectors of the natural world, ensuring that the cycles of life continued unbroken. Yet, even these nurturing figures carried an air of mystery. Their presence was a reminder that nature, while generous, could also be unpredictable. This protective aspect of water spirits isn't limited to ancient myths. In Japanese folklore, the Kappa, though often portrayed as mischievous or even dangerous, were also known to help farmers by irrigating fields and ensuring bountiful harvests. Similarly, the Maori of New Zealand tell stories of taniwha, water spirits who could act as guardians of rivers and lakes, guiding the people and protecting them from harm. These stories reveal a universal truth. Across time and cultures, humans have looked to water spirits as caretakers of the natural world, embodying the hope that nature's forces could be allies rather than adversaries. But what's fascinating is how these benevolent roles often stand in stark contrast to the darker aspects of water spirits. The same Naiads who blessed the land could also bring drought if angered, and the Ruzalki, though nurturing, were said to lure the unwary to watery graves. Even the Kappa, helpful as they could be, were known to drown those who crossed them. This duality reflects the very essence of water itself. Life-giving and life-taking, calm and tempestuous, a force that sustains and destroys in equal measure. As we explore these stories, it's clear that water spirits were more than just figments of imagination. They were a way for people to make sense of the natural world, to find meaning in its rhythms and mysteries. Whether as protectors or punishers, these beings remind us of humanity's deep connection to water, a bond that has shaped our myths, our fears, and our hopes for centuries. And as we move forward, we'll see how this duality plays out in the darker, more menacing tales of water spirits, where the line between guardian and predator becomes dangerously thin. Now, let's turn to the darker currents of these watery tales, where the nurturing guardians we've explored give way to figures of dread and danger. Across cultures, water spirits have often been portrayed as menacing entities, their beauty or charm masking a deadly intent. Take the Germanic Nymphs, for example. These shape-shifting spirits were said to inhabit rivers and lakes, appearing as handsome men or alluring women to entice unsuspecting travelers. But their allure was a trap. Once close enough, the Nymphs would drag their victims into the depths, never to be seen again. These stories weren't just meant to frighten. They served as stark warnings about the hidden perils of water, a force that could seem calm and inviting one moment, only to turn deadly the next. In Japan, the Kappa embodies a similar duality. Often depicted as small, turtle-like creatures, they might seem harmless or even comical at first glance. But the Kappa were anything but benign. Known for their love of mischief, they could pull swimmers underwater or drown livestock, their behavior as unpredictable as a sudden storm. Yet, what's fascinating is how these tales also carried practical lessons. Stories of the Kappa often included ways to outwit them, like bowing deeply to make them spill the water stored in the bowl atop their heads, rendering them powerless. These narratives weren't just about fear. They were survival guides teaching people how to navigate the dangers of their environment. The psychological impact of these menacing water spirits cannot be overstated. For communities living near rivers, lakes, or oceans, water was both a source of life and a constant threat. Floods, drownings, and unpredictable currents were ever-present dangers, and the tales of vengeful or mischievous water spirits reflected those realities. By personifying these risks, people could better understand and cope with the inherent unpredictability of nature. These stories also served as cautionary tales, especially for children. A mother might warn her child to stay away from the riverbank, lest the Nymphs or a Kappa be waiting to claim them. In this way, water spirits became a cultural tool for teaching respect and caution. But why were these spirits so often depicted as both beautiful and deadly? The answer lies in water itself, a force that is as mesmerizing as it is dangerous. The shimmering surface of a lake can hide treacherous depths, just as the allure of a water spirit can mask their lethal intent. This duality speaks to humanity's deep-seated ambivalence toward water. We are drawn to it for its beauty and life-giving properties, yet we fear its capacity for destruction. The menacing water spirits of folklore embody this tension, reminding us that nature is not something to be tamed or taken for granted. These tales also reveal the cultural significance of fear. In many societies, the menacing water spirit wasn't just a figure of terror. It was a way to explain the inexplicable. Why did a skilled fisherman vanish without a trace? Why did a sudden flood destroy an entire village? By attributing these events to the actions of a vengeful spirit, people could make sense of the chaos around them. And in doing so, they reinforced the idea that nature, while awe-inspiring, demanded respect and caution. As we delve deeper into these stories, it's clear that the menacing side of water spirits is as integral to their mythology as their benevolent aspects. They remind us that water, for all its life-giving power, is also a force to be reckoned with, a truth that has shaped human imagination and culture for millennia. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these darker portrayals have evolved over time, from ancient warnings to modern reinterpretations, keeping the legacy of these enigmatic beings alive in our collective consciousness. As we journey across the globe, the stories of water spirits take on a breathtaking diversity, shaped by the landscapes and beliefs of the cultures that created them. In the misty lochs and rugged coasts of Celtic mythology, we encounter the Selkies, seal-like beings who could shed their skins to walk on land as beautiful humans. These creatures were often associated with themes of longing and transformation, their stories tinged with both romance and tragedy. A Selkie might fall in love with a human, but their heart would always belong to the sea, a reminder of the irresistible pull of nature and the sacrifices it demands. The Selkies' dual nature, both seal and human, mirrors the duality of water itself, a boundary between worlds that is both inviting and perilous. Far from the chill of the North Atlantic, in the warm, vibrant waters of West Africa, we find Mami Wata, a powerful and enigmatic water spirit. Often depicted as a mermaid or a woman with serpentine features, Mami Wata is both a bringer of wealth and a harbinger of danger. She embodies the allure of the unknown, offering prosperity and spiritual insight to those who honor her, but exacting a heavy price from those who fail to show proper respect. Her stories reflect the deep connection between water and life in African cultures, where rivers and oceans are not just sources of sustenance but also gateways to the divine. Mami Wata's dual role as a giver and taker of fortune underscores the universal theme of water as a force of both creation and destruction. In the icy waters of Scandinavia, the Draugr, a water spirit born from the restless dead, takes on a far more sinister form. These beings were said to haunt the fjords and coastal waters, dragging sailors and fishermen to their doom. Unlike the Selkies or Mami Wata, the Draugr were almost entirely malevolent, embodying the dangers of the sea and the fear of what lies beneath its surface. Yet, even in their terrifying nature, they served a purpose: to warn against the perils of the deep and to remind people of the respect owed to the waters that sustain them. What's striking about these variations is how they reflect the environments and values of the cultures that created them. The Selkies of Celtic lore, shaped by a landscape of rugged coastlines and stormy seas, embody themes of transformation and the tension between land and sea. Mami Wata, born from the lush, life-giving rivers of Africa, represents the balance between prosperity and peril, a reminder of the spiritual and material wealth that water can bring. The Draugr, emerging from the cold, harsh waters of Scandinavia, highlight the fear and respect that the sea commands in a region where survival often depended on its bounty. Yet, for all their differences, these water spirits share universal themes: duality, transformation, and the deep, often ambivalent connection between humans and water. Whether as protectors, temptresses, or predators, they reflect the ways in which people have sought to understand and navigate the mysteries of the natural world. These stories are more than just myths. They are windows into the values, fears, and hopes of the cultures that told them. As we explore these cultural variations, it becomes clear that water spirits are not just figures of legend, but also symbols of the human experience. They remind us of the power of nature to shape our lives, our stories, and our understanding of the world. And as we move forward, we'll delve into the deeper meanings behind these myths, uncovering the symbolic threads that connect these diverse tales and reveal the timeless truths they hold. Beneath the surface of these myths lies a profound symbolism that resonates deeply with the human experience. Water spirits, with their fluid, ever-changing forms, have long been seen as mirrors of our own emotions and subconscious minds. Just as water flows, ebbs, and surges, so too do our feelings: joy, sorrow, fear, and longing. This connection between water and emotion is perhaps why these beings often appear in stories as both comforting and unsettling figures. They embody the unpredictable tides of our inner lives, reflecting the ways in which we navigate the currents of change and uncertainty. Take, for example, the way water spirits are often tied to themes of transformation. In many myths, they are shape-shifters, capable of taking on different forms, from serene maidens to monstrous creatures. This fluidity mirrors the human experience of growth and transition, the way we adapt and evolve in response to life's challenges. The Selkies of Celtic lore, who move between seal and human forms, embody this idea beautifully. Their stories often revolve around the tension between two worlds, land and sea, freedom and captivity, capturing the universal struggle of balancing different aspects of our identities. Water spirits also carry a powerful connection to the cycle of life and death. Water, after all, is the source of life, yet it can also take life away. This duality is reflected in figures like the Rusalki, who are both associated with fertility and the untimely deaths of young women. Their presence in folklore serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction, a theme that echoes in the natural world and within ourselves. Even the Kappa, with their mischievous and sometimes deadly behavior, symbolize the precarious relationship between humanity and nature, how easily life can be given or taken by forces beyond our control. In literature and art, these symbolic layers have been explored in countless ways. Writers and artists have drawn on the imagery of water spirits to convey complex emotions and ideas. In literature, characters inspired by these beings often represent the subconscious or the unknown, their actions and motivations as enigmatic as the depths of the ocean. Think of the sirens in Homer's Odyssey, whose songs lure sailors to their doom, a metaphor for the seductive, destructive power of desire. Or consider the way modern fantasy authors use water spirits to explore themes of identity, loss, and transformation, weaving these ancient symbols into new narratives that resonate with contemporary audiences. Visual artists, too, have been captivated by the imagery of water spirits. Paintings and sculptures often depict them with flowing hair and ethereal beauty, their forms blending seamlessly with the water around them. These works capture not just the physical likeness of these beings, but also their symbolic essence, the way they embody the mystery and power of the natural world. From the delicate brushstrokes of a watercolor naiad to the haunting, otherworldly presence of a mermaid in a digital illustration, these representations keep the legacy of water spirits alive in our collective imagination. What makes these symbols so enduring is their universality. Whether as metaphors for our emotions, representations of life cycles, or embodiments of the unknown, water spirits speak to something deeply human. They remind us that, like water, we are constantly in motion, shaped by the forces around us while remaining uniquely ourselves. And as we continue to tell their stories, we keep alive the timeless truths they represent, truths about change, resilience, and the ever-shifting currents of existence. The allure of water spirits has not only shaped ancient myths, but also inspired some of the most iconic works of literature and art throughout history. Think of Shakespeare's The Tempest, where the ethereal spirit Ariel serves as a bridge between the human and the supernatural. With the power to control the winds and waters, Ariel embodies the fluid, unpredictable nature of water itself, capable of both destruction and redemption. Shakespeare's portrayal of Ariel isn't just a magical figure. It's a reflection of the human desire to harness and understand the forces of nature. Through Ariel, we see the duality of water spirits as both helpers and tricksters, a theme that resonates deeply with the complexities of human ambition and emotion. In the realm of visual art, water spirits have been a source of endless fascination. Take John William Waterhouse's famous painting The Mermaid. Here, the mermaid sits on a rocky shore, her gaze both alluring and unsettling, embodying the timeless tension between beauty and danger. Waterhouse captures the mermaid's dual nature, her connection to the sea, a place of mystery and peril, and her human-like form, which draws us in with a sense of familiarity. This duality is a recurring theme in art, where water spirits often serve as symbols of the unknown, inviting us to explore the depths of our own imaginations. What makes these depictions so compelling is their ability to transcend time and culture. In literature and art, water spirits become more than just characters or subjects. They become metaphors for the human condition. They represent our fascination with the unknown, our longing for connection, and our fear of what lies beneath the surface. Whether it's Ariel's playful yet poignant presence in The Tempest or the haunting beauty of Waterhouse's Mermaid, these works remind us that water spirits are not just figures of myth but mirrors of our own hopes, fears, and dreams. As we move into the modern era, the role of water spirits in storytelling continues to evolve. Contemporary authors and artists draw on these ancient symbols to explore new themes and ideas. In fantasy literature, for example, water spirits often appear as complex characters with their own motivations and struggles, reflecting the nuanced ways we understand identity and transformation today. Films and television series, too, have embraced these beings, reimagining them for new audiences while staying true to their symbolic roots. From the mysterious Selkies in Song of the Sea to the seductive sirens in Pirates of the Caribbean, water spirits remain a powerful source of inspiration, their stories adapting to reflect the concerns and curiosities of each generation. This enduring appeal speaks to something universal within us. Water spirits, with their fluid forms and dual natures, continue to captivate because they embody the mysteries of life itself, its beauty, its dangers, and its endless possibilities. Whether in a centuries-old painting or a modern blockbuster, they invite us to dive deeper, to explore not just the world around us but the depths of our own imaginations. And as we continue to tell their stories, we keep alive the timeless connection between humanity and the waters that have shaped us, both literally and symbolically, for millennia. The fascination with water spirits hasn't faded with time, it's simply taken on new forms. In today's world, these enigmatic beings have found a fresh life in modern media, from blockbuster films to immersive video games, where they continue to captivate audiences with their mystery and allure. Take, for instance, the sirens in Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. These creatures, with their haunting beauty and deadly songs, are a direct nod to the ancient Greek myths, yet they're reimagined for a contemporary audience. The film amplifies their menace, blending the timeless fear of the unknown with the high-stakes drama of a swashbuckling adventure. It's a perfect example of how modern storytellers draw from the well of ancient myths while giving them a fresh, thrilling twist. Video games, too, have become a powerful medium for exploring water spirits. In the Legend of Zelda series, the Zoras are a recurring race of aquatic beings who embody both the nurturing and dangerous aspects of water. In some games, they are allies, offering guidance and wisdom to the player, while in others they can be formidable foes, guarding sacred waters with fierce determination. This duality reflects the same themes found in ancient folklore: water as both a source of life and a force to be reckoned with. Through the interactive nature of gaming, players don't just observe these spirits, they engage with them, forging a deeper connection to their symbolic significance. But it's not just about entertainment. These modern portrayals often carry psychological weight, tapping into our collective fascination with the unknown. When we see a siren luring sailors to their doom or a Zora warrior defending their underwater realm, we're not just watching a story unfold, we're confronting our own fears and desires. Water spirits in modern media often serve as metaphors for the subconscious, representing the parts of ourselves that are fluid, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous. They remind us that, like water, our emotions and instincts can be both life-giving and destructive, and that navigating them requires courage and respect. What's particularly intriguing is how these portrayals adapt to the values and concerns of contemporary audiences. In a world increasingly aware of environmental issues, water spirits often take on new roles as guardians of nature. In films and games, they're frequently depicted as protectors of endangered ecosystems, their plight mirroring our own struggles to preserve the planet's waters. This shift not only keeps the myths relevant but also deepens their meaning, connecting ancient symbolism to modern-day challenges. At the same time, modern media allows for greater nuance in how water spirits are portrayed. They're no longer confined to the binary of good or evil. Instead, they're often complex characters with their own motivations and struggles. This evolution reflects a broader cultural shift toward understanding the world in shades of gray rather than black and white. By giving water spirits depth and dimension, storytellers invite us to see them, and by extension ourselves, in a more nuanced light. As we immerse ourselves in these modern interpretations, it's clear that water spirits remain as compelling as ever. Whether on the big screen, in a video game, or through a streaming series, they continue to draw us into their world, inviting us to explore the mysteries of the deep and perhaps the mysteries within ourselves. And as we move forward, we'll delve into the psychological impact of these portrayals, uncovering how they shape our perceptions and connect us to the timeless power of myth. The myths of water spirits do more than entertain, they strike at the very core of our psyche, tapping into fears and desires as old as humanity itself. Consider the primal fear of drowning, a terror that resonates deeply across cultures. Water, for all its life-giving properties, is also a force of death, and water spirits often embody this duality. Stories of beings like the Germanic Nymphs or the Japanese Kappa who drag their victims into the depths aren't just cautionary tales. They reflect a universal anxiety about the unknown and the uncontrollable. These myths give shape to our deepest fears, turning the murky waters of our subconscious into tangible, if terrifying, figures. But it's not just fear that these myths evoke. There's also a profound longing for connection with nature, with the divine, and even with our own inner selves. Water spirits often serve as intermediaries between the human and natural worlds, embodying the idea that we are not separate from nature but deeply intertwined with it. In many cultures, these beings are seen as the guardians of sacred waters, their presence a reminder of the spiritual importance of rivers, lakes, and oceans. For the ancient Greeks, a Naiad wasn't just a nymph. She was the living spirit of a spring, a direct link between the physical world and the divine. This connection to the sacred has shaped cultural attitudes toward water, fostering a sense of reverence and stewardship that persists to this day. Rituals and traditions surrounding water spirits further illustrate their psychological impact. In Slavic folklore, for example, the Ruzalki were honored during the summer festival of Ruzalnaya week, a time of singing, dancing, and offerings to ensure their favor. These rituals weren't just about appeasing spirits, they were a way for communities to come together, to celebrate the cycles of nature, and to reaffirm their place within the larger web of life. Similarly, in Japan, the Kappa were both feared and respected, with rituals aimed at both avoiding their wrath and seeking their help. These practices reveal a deep-seated belief in the importance of maintaining harmony with the natural world, a belief that continues to influence how we interact with our environment. What's fascinating is how these myths and rituals have evolved to address contemporary concerns. In an age of climate change and environmental degradation, the symbolic role of water spirits has taken on new urgency. They've become emblems of the fragile balance between humanity and nature, reminding us of the consequences of neglect and exploitation. Modern retellings of these myths often emphasize their role as protectors of endangered ecosystems, transforming ancient symbols into powerful advocates for environmental awareness. This shift underscores the enduring relevance of water spirit myths, not just as relics of the past, but as tools for understanding and addressing the challenges of the present. At their heart, these stories are about more than spirits, they're about us. They reflect our fears, our hopes, and our need to make sense of a world that is both beautiful and perilous. By exploring these myths, we gain insight into the ways our ancestors navigated the complexities of existence, and we find new ways to connect with the natural world and with each other. As we move forward, we'll see how these ancient narratives continue to shape our lives, from the rituals we practice to the stories we tell, keeping the legacy of water spirits alive in ways that are as profound as they are enduring. Water spirits have not only inspired myths and stories, but have also become central to vibrant traditions and rituals that continue to shape cultures around the world. Take Japan, for instance, where the Suijin festivals celebrate the kami, or spirits of water. These festivals, often held near rivers, lakes, or wells, are a beautiful blend of reverence and community. People gather to offer rice, sake, and other gifts to the water spirits, thanking them for their life-giving blessings and seeking their protection from floods or droughts. These rituals aren't just about appeasing supernatural beings, they're a way for communities to come together, to honor the natural world, and to pass down a sense of respect for the environment from one generation to the next. The Suijin festivals highlight the deep spiritual connection between people and water, reminding us that these elements are not just resources but sacred entities deserving of gratitude and care. In Slavic cultures, the Ruzalka week is another striking example of how water spirits are woven into the fabric of daily life. This week-long festival, held in early summer, is dedicated to the Ruzalki, the spirits of rivers and lakes. During this time, villagers engage in singing, dancing, and making offerings of flowers and bread to these beings. The Ruzalki are believed to emerge from the water during this period, bringing fertility to the land and ensuring a bountiful harvest. But there's also an air of caution. Stories warn of the Ruzalki's potential to harm those who disrespect the waters. This blend of celebration and warning reflects the dual nature of water spirits as both protectors and enforcers of natural balance. Ruzalka Week isn't just a festival, it's a living tradition that reinforces the importance of harmony between humans and the natural world. Across the globe in West Africa, the veneration of Mami Wata takes on a deeply personal and communal dimension. Mami Wata, often depicted as a mermaid or a woman with serpentine features, is honored through elaborate ceremonies that include music, dance, and offerings of food, jewelry, and even live animals. These rituals are not just acts of worship but also social events that strengthen community bonds. Participants often enter trance-like states, believing they are communicating directly with the spirit. The reverence for Mami Wata underscores her role as a mediator between the human and divine, a figure who can grant prosperity and spiritual insight but who also demands respect and devotion. These practices highlight the enduring power of water spirits to unite people, both spiritually and socially, in shared acts of reverence and celebration. What's fascinating about these rituals is how they transcend mere tradition to become living expressions of cultural identity. They're not static, they evolve, adapting to the needs and values of the communities that practice them. In many cases, these rituals also serve as a way to preserve oral traditions. Stories about water spirits are passed down through songs, dances, and communal gatherings, ensuring that the wisdom and warnings embedded in these myths aren't lost. This oral transmission keeps the spirits alive in the collective memory, connecting the past to the present in a way that feels both timeless and immediate. But the significance of these rituals goes beyond the spiritual. They also play a practical role in reinforcing environmental stewardship. By honoring water spirits, communities are reminded of their dependence on and responsibility toward natural resources. In a world increasingly aware of environmental challenges, these traditions offer a powerful reminder of the sacredness of water and the need to protect it. Whether through the Suajin festivals, Ruzalka Week, or ceremonies for Mami Wata, these practices inspire a sense of reverence for the natural world that is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. As we delve deeper into these traditions, it becomes clear that water spirits are more than just figures of myth. They are living symbols of humanity's connection to the natural world. Through festivals, offerings, and rituals, they continue to inspire awe, foster community, and remind us of the delicate balance we must maintain with the forces that sustain us. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these practices have shaped folklore and oral traditions, keeping the legacy of water spirits alive in stories that resonate across generations. Water spirits have always thrived in the realm of spoken word, carried forward through the voices of storytellers who wove these tales into the fabric of their communities. Before the written word became widespread, oral traditions were the lifeblood of myth and legend, and water spirits were no exception. Picture a village elder sitting by the fire, recounting the tale of a mischievous Kappa to wide-eyed children, or a bard singing of the Selkies' sorrowful love stories to a captivated audience. These stories weren't just entertainment, they were lessons, warnings, and a way to make sense of the world. Through the art of storytelling, water spirits became more than just characters. They became symbols of the values, fears, and wisdom of the people who told their tales. The role of the storyteller in preserving these myths cannot be overstated. In many cultures, storytellers were revered as keepers of knowledge, entrusted with the sacred duty of passing down the collective memory of their people. They didn't just repeat tales verbatim, they adapted them, infusing each retelling with new meaning to reflect the changing times. A story about a Rusalka might shift subtly over the years, emphasizing her nurturing side during times of plenty or her vengeful nature during periods of hardship. This adaptability kept the myths alive, allowing them to resonate with each new generation while retaining their core essence. The storyteller's voice was the thread that connected the past to the present, ensuring that the lessons of these myths were never forgotten. But why have these stories endured for so long? One reason lies in their universality. Water, as a symbol, transcends geography and culture. It is life-giving and life-taking, calm and tempestuous, familiar and mysterious qualities that make water spirits such compelling figures. In folktales, they often serve as metaphors for the human experience, embodying the complexities of emotion, the cycles of nature, and the tension between the known and the unknown. A story about a Nyx luring a traveler to their doom isn't just about the dangers of water. It's about the seductive allure of the unknown and the consequences of yielding to temptation. These layers of meaning made the tales not only memorable but also deeply relatable. As we move from the realm of folklore to the world of science, it's fascinating to consider how these myths might have taken root. Many legends of water spirits likely arose from natural phenomena that early communities couldn't fully explain. The sudden disappearance of a swimmer might have been attributed to a kappa, while the eerie echoes heard in a cave near a river could have been interpreted as the songs of a Rusalka. Even the shimmering light sometimes seen on water surfaces, known as bioluminescence, might have been seen as evidence of otherworldly beings. These scientific explanations don't diminish the power of the myths. They enrich them, showing how human imagination transformed the mysteries of the natural world into stories that continue to captivate us. What's remarkable is how these oral traditions have shaped our understanding of water spirits, even as they've evolved over time. The stories told by firelight centuries ago still echo in the way we depict these beings in books, films, and art today. They remind us that storytelling is more than just a way to pass the time. It's a way to make sense of the world, to connect with each other, and to preserve the wisdom of those who came before us. And as we explore the scientific underpinnings of these legends, we'll see how the line between myth and reality becomes beautifully blurred, revealing the timeless power of water spirits to inspire wonder and curiosity. The shimmering surface of a lake at dusk, the eerie glow of bioluminescent waves, or the sudden, swirling pull of a whirlpool, these natural phenomena have captivated humans for millennia. But for our ancestors who lacked the scientific understanding we have today, these occurrences often seemed otherworldly. It's not hard to see how the unexplained mysteries of water could give rise to stories of spirits and supernatural beings. Take bioluminescence, for example. When tiny organisms like plankton light up the ocean with their ethereal glow, it's easy to imagine a mermaid's tail flickering beneath the waves or a mischievous kappa summoning eerie lights to lure the unwary. What we now understand as a natural process might have once been interpreted as the work of a water spirit, a tangible manifestation of the unseen forces that govern their world. Whirlpools, too, have long been a source of both fascination and fear. In ancient times, the sudden, violent pull of a whirlpool could easily be attributed to a malevolent spirit lurking beneath the surface. Stories of the Nyx or the kappa dragging victims into the depths may have originated from real-life encounters with these powerful currents. Even mirages, those optical illusions caused by the refraction of light, could have inspired tales of elusive water spirits. A traveler crossing a desert, parched and desperate, might glimpse what appears to be a shimmering oasis, only to find it vanish as they approach. In a world without scientific explanations, such phenomena could easily be interpreted as the tricks or blessings of a water deity. But these myths weren't just attempts to explain the unexplainable, they also served a practical purpose. By attributing natural events to the actions of spirits, early societies created a framework for understanding and interacting with their environment. If a river flooded or a drought struck, it wasn't just bad luck, it was a sign that the water spirits were displeased. This belief system encouraged people to respect and care for their natural resources, fostering a sense of stewardship that was essential for survival. In this way, the myths of water spirits weren't just stories. They were a form of early environmental ethics, teaching communities to live in harmony with the forces of nature. Yet, as we've gained a deeper understanding of the natural world, the line between myth and science has become increasingly blurred. While we no longer believe that bioluminescence is the work of mermaids or that whirlpools are the lairs of malevolent spirits, these stories still hold power. They remind us of the awe and wonder that the natural world can inspire, and they challenge us to see the world through the eyes of our ancestors, not as a collection of random events, but as a tapestry of interconnected mysteries waiting to be unraveled. This intersection of myth and science raises important ethical questions. As we continue to explore and exploit the world's water resources, how do we balance scientific progress with the reverence for nature that these myths once inspired? The stories of water spirits remind us that water is not just a resource to be managed. It is a source of life, mystery, and beauty. By revisiting these ancient tales, we can find new ways to approach our relationship with the natural world, blending the wisdom of the past with the knowledge of the present to create a more sustainable and respectful future. As we reflect on the enduring legacy of water spirit myths, it's impossible to ignore the profound ethical implications they've had on human behavior. For centuries, these stories weren't just tales to entertain. They were powerful tools for shaping how people interacted with their environment. Take, for example, the taboos surrounding certain water bodies. In many cultures, rivers, lakes, and springs were considered sacred, their spirits demanding respect and reverence. Unwritten rules often prohibited polluting these waters or taking more than what was needed, ensuring that communities lived in harmony with their natural surroundings. These taboos weren't arbitrary, they were rooted in a deep understanding of the delicate balance between humanity and nature, a balance that water spirits personified. This reverence for water spirits often translated into tangible conservation efforts. In Japan, for instance, the belief in Kappa as guardians of rivers led to practices that protected these ecosystems. People would avoid overfishing or disturbing riverbanks, fearing the wrath of these mischievous yet protective spirits. Similarly, in Slavic cultures, the Ruzalki's association with fertility and water purity encouraged communities to maintain clean and healthy waterways. By attributing moral and spiritual significance to these bodies of water, myths fostered a sense of responsibility that went beyond practicality. It became a matter of cultural and ethical duty. But the influence of water spirit myths extends even further, touching on the ways societies have shaped gender roles. Many water spirits, like the Naiads or Ruzalki, are depicted as feminine figures, often embodying ideals of beauty, nurturing, and mystery. These portrayals reflect broader cultural attitudes toward women and their connection to nature, simultaneously elevating and restricting them. On one hand, the association of women with water spirits emphasized their role as life-givers and caretakers, aligning them with the natural cycles of fertility and renewal. On the other hand, it often confined them to these roles, limiting their identities to the realms of emotion and intuition rather than action and authority. At the same time, male water spirits like the Nymphs or Kappa often embody traits of danger and unpredictability, reinforcing traditional notions of masculinity tied to power and control. These gender depictions reveal how myths have been used to codify societal expectations, shaping the way men and women are perceived and how they perceive themselves. Yet, they also offer opportunities for reimagining these roles. Modern retellings of water spirit myths, particularly in literature and film, have begun to challenge these stereotypes, presenting more nuanced and empowered portrayals that reflect evolving attitudes toward gender. What's fascinating is how these ancient stories continue to resonate in contemporary discussions about environmental stewardship and gender equality. The same myths that once inspired communities to protect their waters now serve as reminders of the interconnectedness of all life. They challenge us to consider how our actions impact the natural world and how we can build a more sustainable and equitable future. By revisiting these tales, we not only honor the wisdom of our ancestors, but also find new ways to apply their lessons to the challenges we face today. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these myths have been reinterpreted in modern contexts, bridging the gap between ancient traditions and contemporary values. The portrayal of water spirits in mythology often carries deep connections to gender roles, reflecting the values and expectations of the societies that created them. Female water spirits, like the enchanting mermaids or the nurturing naiads, frequently embody ideals of beauty, fertility, and mystery. These figures are often depicted as ethereal and alluring, their presence tied to themes of life, renewal, and emotional depth. Mermaids, for instance, are not just symbols of the sea's beauty, but also its dangers, their captivating songs and appearances often masking a perilous intent. This duality mirrors the way women have historically been viewed in many cultures, as both life-givers and sources of temptation, their power celebrated yet also feared. On the other hand, male water spirits like the Kappa or the Germanic Nymphs often embody traits of strength, danger, and unpredictability. The Kappa, with its mischievous yet sometimes deadly behavior, represents a balance between helpfulness and harm, reflecting societal ideas of masculinity tied to power and control. The Nymphs, capable of luring victims into the depths, embodies a darker, more predatory aspect of male energy. These male spirits often serve as warnings, their stories reinforcing the idea that nature, and by extension masculinity, is a force to be respected and at times feared. Together, these gendered portrayals reveal how water spirits have been used to codify societal norms, shaping perceptions of what it means to be male or female within a cultural context. But these myths go deeper than just reinforcing stereotypes. They also play a significant role in shaping hero narratives. In many stories, heroes must confront or outwit these gendered spirits, their encounters serving as tests of character and morality. A hero might face a mermaid's seductive song, resisting temptation to prove their virtue, or they might challenge a Kappa, using cunning and respect to earn its aid. These interactions highlight the cultural ideals of heroism, often tied to themes of self-control, bravery, and wisdom. The hero's journey, in this sense, becomes a reflection of societal values, with water spirits acting as both obstacles and guides. What's particularly intriguing is how these gendered roles have evolved over time. Modern retellings of water spirit myths often challenge traditional portrayals, offering more nuanced and empowered representations. Female spirits, for example, are increasingly depicted as complex characters with their own agency, rather than mere symbols of beauty or danger. Similarly, male spirits are being reimagined in ways that move beyond the archetype of the dangerous trickster, exploring themes of vulnerability and transformation. These shifts reflect broader changes in how we understand gender, identity, and power, showing how myths can adapt to resonate with contemporary audiences. By examining the gendered roles of water spirits, we gain insight not just into ancient beliefs, but also into the ways these stories continue to shape our understanding of ourselves and our world. They remind us that myths are more than just tales, they are mirrors, reflecting the values, fears, and aspirations of the cultures that create them. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these narratives intersect with hero myths, revealing the timeless ways in which water spirits have inspired and challenged humanity's greatest stories. Water spirits have long been woven into the fabric of hero myths, serving as both formidable obstacles and unexpected allies on the journey toward greatness. Think of the sirens in Homer's Odyssey, whose haunting melodies lured sailors to their doom. Odysseus, determined to hear their song yet survive, devises a clever plan. He orders his crew to tie him to the mast and plug their ears with wax. This encounter isn't just a test of strength or courage, it's a trial of self-control and wisdom. The sirens, with their irresistible allure, symbolize the temptations that can derail even the most heroic quests. By resisting their call, Odysseus proves his mastery over his desires, a lesson that resonates far beyond the ancient world. But water spirits don't always play the role of adversaries. In some myths, they become invaluable guides or helpers, offering the hero the tools or knowledge needed to succeed. Take the Welsh legend of the Lady of the Lake, who presents King Arthur with the enchanted sword Excalibur. Here, the water spirit isn't a threat but a benefactor, her gift symbolizing the hero's rightful claim to power and the divine favor that supports his mission. This duality, water spirits as both obstacles and allies, reflects the complexity of the hero's journey, where challenges and aid often come from the same source. What makes these interactions so compelling is their symbolic depth. Water spirits often represent the unknown, the subconscious, or the natural world forces that the hero must navigate to achieve their goal. Whether it's the sirens testing Odysseus's resolve or the Lady of the Lake bestowing a sacred weapon, these encounters highlight the hero's need to balance strength with humility, courage with caution. They remind us that the path to greatness is rarely straightforward. It requires not just physical prowess but also mental and spiritual fortitude. The influence of water spirits extends beyond hero myths, shaping religious beliefs and practices in profound ways. In many cultures, these beings are seen as intermediaries between the human and divine realms, their presence a reminder of the sacredness of water. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, believed that the Nile's annual flood was a gift from the god Hapi, ensuring the land's fertility and the people's survival. Rituals honoring water spirits were often tied to agricultural cycles, reinforcing the idea that human prosperity depended on maintaining a harmonious relationship with the natural and supernatural world. Similarly, in Hinduism, rivers like the Ganges are personified as goddesses, their waters believed to purify the soul and wash away sins. Pilgrims flock to these sacred waters, seeking not just physical cleansing but also spiritual renewal. These religious traditions highlight the enduring connection between water spirits and the divine, a relationship that transcends cultures and centuries. By examining their role in both hero myths and religious beliefs, we gain a deeper understanding of how these enigmatic beings have shaped humanity's spiritual and cultural landscapes. As we explore these intersections, it becomes clear that water spirits are more than just characters in stories. They are symbols of the challenges and opportunities that define the human experience. They test our limits, guide our steps, and connect us to something greater than ourselves. And as we move forward, we'll see how their influence continues to ripple through our myths, our beliefs, and our understanding of the world around us. Water spirits have long held a sacred place in religious traditions, serving as powerful symbols of the divine and the natural world. In Hinduism, the Ganges River is not just a body of water. It is the goddess Ganga, a celestial being who descended from the heavens to purify the earth. Pilgrims from across India journey to her banks, immersing themselves in her waters to cleanse their sins and seek spiritual renewal. The Ganges is more than a river. She is a living deity, her currents carrying the prayers and hopes of millions. This profound connection between water and the divine reflects a belief that the natural world is infused with sacred energy, a reminder that the spiritual and the physical are deeply intertwined. Across the globe, in the Yoruba tradition of West Africa, the deity Yamaya reigns as the mother of the oceans and the protector of women and children. Known as the mother of all, Yamaya embodies the nurturing and life-giving aspects of water, her presence felt in the tides and waves that shape the coastlines. Devotees honor her with offerings of flowers, fruits, and candles, celebrating her role as a source of strength and fertility. Yet, like the waters she governs, Yamaya also holds a dual nature. She can be gentle and comforting, but also fierce and unforgiving when her boundaries are crossed. This duality makes her a compelling figure, one who bridges the realms of the natural and the spiritual, offering both solace and a reminder of the ocean's untamed power. These religious traditions highlight a universal truth. Water spirits are not just mythical beings, they are embodiments of the sacred, serving as intermediaries between humanity and the divine. They remind us that water is not merely a resource but a source of spiritual connection, a force that sustains life and carries our deepest prayers. Whether it's the Ganges flowing through the heart of India or the vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean under Yamaya's watchful gaze, these waters are seen as channels to the divine, their currents linking the earthly and the eternal. But the influence of water spirits doesn't end with ancient rituals or sacred rivers. It extends into the realm of urban legends, where their stories take on a new life in modern context. In cities and towns around the world, tales of haunted lakes, mysterious mermaids, or vengeful river spirits continue to captivate the imagination. These urban legends often blend the ancient with the contemporary, transforming age-old myths into cautionary tales for the modern age. A river that was once revered as sacred might now be the setting for a ghost story, its waters said to be haunted by the spirits of those who met untimely ends. These stories, while rooted in folklore, reflect our ongoing fascination with water's mysteries and the enduring power of these spirits to unsettle and inspire. What makes these urban legends so compelling is their ability to adapt to new settings and concerns. A tale of a water spirit haunting a local lake might serve as a warning about environmental degradation, its anger fueled by pollution and neglect. Or it might explore themes of loss and memory, the spirit's presence a reminder of the histories and tragedies that lie beneath the surface. In this way, urban legends keep the legacy of water spirits alive, reimagining their roles to reflect the fears and questions of contemporary life. As we explore these intersections of myth, religion, and modern storytelling, it becomes clear that water spirits are more than relics of the past. They are living symbols evolving to meet the needs of each new generation. Whether as deities in sacred rivers or figures in urban legends, they continue to bridge the natural and the spiritual, reminding us of the timeless power of water to connect, transform, and inspire. And as we move forward, we'll delve into how these spirits have become part of global folklore, their stories transcending borders and cultures to become a shared part of humanity's collective imagination. The eerie glow of a foggy lake at midnight, the soft ripple of water disturbed by something unseen, these are the moments where modern urban legends take root, breathing new life into ancient tales of water spirits. Across the globe, stories of haunted lakes, ghostly mermaids, and vengeful river spirits continue to captivate our imaginations, blending the old with the new in ways that feel both familiar and thrillingly fresh. Take, for instance, the legend of the Lady of the Lake in England's Lake Windermere, where sightings of a spectral woman in flowing robes have been reported for centuries. Is she a remnant of an ancient water deity or a tragic figure from a more recent past? These modern myths blur the lines between history and folklore, keeping the essence of water spirits alive in our collective consciousness. Urban legends often serve as a bridge between the past and the present, transforming ancient myths into cautionary tales for contemporary audiences. In Japan, the tale of the Kappa has evolved from a mischievous river spirit to a figure in modern ghost stories, where sightings of strange, childlike creatures near water bodies still send shivers down spines. Similarly, in the United States, stories of haunted lakes like Lake Lanier in Georgia, said to be cursed due to the displacement of communities during its creation, echo the ancient fear of water spirits angered by human actions. These legends aren't just about scares, they're a way for people to process the complexities of history, loss, and the consequences of environmental change. But what's truly fascinating is how these urban legends are increasingly tied to environmental activism. In recent years, stories of water spirits have been reinterpreted to highlight the urgent need to protect our natural resources. For example, in New Zealand, the Maori legend of the Taniwha, a guardian spirit of rivers, has been invoked in campaigns to preserve waterways from pollution and overdevelopment. By framing these environmental issues through the lens of ancient myths, activists tap into a deep cultural reverence for water, reminding people that these bodies of water are not just resources but sacred entities deserving of care and respect. This connection between myth and modern activism reveals a powerful truth. The stories we tell about water spirits are more than just entertainment, they're a reflection of our relationship with the natural world. When a river or lake is said to be haunted, it's often because it has been neglected or harmed, its spirit rising to demand attention and justice. These legends become a call to action, urging us to see water not as something to be exploited but as a vital, living force that sustains us all. As we navigate the challenges of climate change and environmental degradation, the enduring presence of water spirits in our stories serves as a reminder of the wisdom embedded in these ancient myths. They teach us to approach water with reverence, to recognize its power and fragility, and to act as stewards of the natural world. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these timeless tales continue to inspire not just fear and fascination, but also hope and action, shaping the way we interact with the waters that define our planet and our future. Across the globe, ancient myths about water spirits are finding new purpose in the fight to protect our planet's most vital resource, water. These timeless stories, once told to explain the mysteries of rivers, lakes, and oceans, are now being reimagined as powerful tools for environmental activism. Take the Maori concept of the Taniwha, for example. In New Zealand, this guardian spirit of waterways has become a symbol of resistance against the pollution and overdevelopment of rivers. Activists have invoked the Taniwha's protective role to rally communities, framing environmental conservation as not just a modern necessity but a sacred duty. By drawing on these myths, they tap into a deep cultural reverence for nature, transforming ancient beliefs into a call to action for the present. This blending of myth and activism isn't limited to New Zealand. In West Africa, the reverence for Mami Wata, the water spirit associated with prosperity and spiritual insight, has inspired campaigns to clean and protect coastal waters. Her image, often depicted as a mermaid or a woman with serpentine features, has become a rallying symbol for environmental groups working to combat plastic pollution and overfishing. These efforts highlight the power of cultural narratives to inspire change, bridging the gap between tradition and modern environmentalism. When people see water as something sacred, connected to the divine, they're more likely to treat it with the care and respect it deserves. But it's not just large-scale campaigns that benefit from these myths. On a personal level, stories of water spirits are shaping how individuals connect with nature. Many people today are turning to these ancient tales as a way to deepen their spiritual relationship with the environment. For some, meditating by a river or lake becomes an act of communion with the spirits believed to reside there. This practice isn't just about belief in the supernatural, it's about fostering a sense of reverence and responsibility for the natural world. By viewing water as something alive, imbued with spirit, people are more inclined to protect it, not just for practical reasons, but as an expression of their values and spirituality. What's fascinating is how these myths are being reinterpreted to address contemporary concerns. In urban areas where pollution and neglect have turned once pristine waters into hazards, stories of angry or vengeful water spirits are being used to highlight the consequences of environmental degradation. A river that was once revered as sacred might now be described as haunted by the spirits of those harmed by its contamination. These narratives serve as poignant reminders of the damage humans have caused, while also offering hope that, with care and effort, these waters can be restored to their former vitality. The resurgence of water spirit myths in environmental activism and personal spirituality underscores their enduring relevance. They remind us that water is more than a resource, it's a living, sacred force that connects us to each other and to the planet. Whether through large-scale campaigns or individual practices, these stories continue to inspire awe, respect, and action, proving that the wisdom of the past can guide us toward a more sustainable future. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these ancient symbols are shaping the way we think about water, spirituality, and our place in the natural world. In today's fast-paced modern world, many people are turning to ancient myths as a source of solace and inspiration, and water spirits are finding a special place in personal spirituality. For some, connecting with these beings isn't about literal belief. It's about tapping into the symbolic power they represent. Picture someone sitting by the edge of a serene lake, eyes closed, meditating on the gentle ripples of the water. In that moment, they might feel the presence of a naiad or a rusalka, not as a literal being, but as a manifestation of nature's wisdom and the cycles of life. This practice isn't just about relaxation. It's a way to cultivate a deeper relationship with the natural world, to see water not as a resource but as a living, sacred force. Rituals, too, have become a meaningful way for individuals to honor water spirits in their daily lives. From simple acts like offering flowers to a stream to more elaborate ceremonies that involve chanting, drumming, or lighting candles by a riverbank, these practices are deeply personal expressions of reverence. They allow people to reconnect with the rhythms of nature, grounding themselves in something larger than the chaos of modern life. For others, artistic expression becomes a bridge to these ancient beings. Painters, poets, and musicians draw inspiration from water spirits, using their imagery to explore themes of transformation, healing, and the mysteries of the subconscious. A painting of a mermaid might symbolize a journey of self-discovery, while a poem about a kappa could reflect on the balance between mischief and wisdom. This resurgence of interest in water spirits isn't just a nostalgic nod to the past. It's a response to the challenges of the present. In a world grappling with environmental crises and a growing sense of disconnection from nature, these beings offer a way to rekindle a sense of wonder and responsibility. They remind us that water is more than a resource. It's a source of life, a mirror of our emotions, and a gateway to the divine. By engaging with these myths, people find not just inspiration but also a framework for personal growth. The stories of water spirits, with their themes of transformation and duality, resonate deeply with those navigating their own journeys of change and self-discovery. As we look at the role of water spirits in global mythology, it's clear that their influence extends far beyond individual spirituality. These beings have been woven into the fabric of countless cultures, each adding its own unique perspective to their symbolism. In the icy waters of Scandinavia, the Draugr embodies the dangers of the sea, while in the warm rivers of Africa, Mami Wata represents both prosperity and peril. These diverse interpretations reveal a universal truth. water spirits are not just characters in stories, they are reflections of humanity's relationship with water, a force that shapes our lives in profound and often unpredictable ways. What's remarkable is how these myths, despite their differences, share common themes. Transformation, duality, and the interplay between life and death are recurring motifs, reminding us of the timeless power of water to inspire awe and reflection. Whether as guardians, tricksters, or guides, water spirits continue to captivate our imaginations, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern, the personal and the universal. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these myths have traveled across cultures, adapting and evolving to become a shared part of humanity's collective story. Water spirit myths are not confined to the shores of a single culture. They ripple across the globe, weaving a shared tapestry of human imagination. From the icy fjords of Scandinavia to the sun-drenched rivers of Africa, these stories have traveled, evolved, and intertwined, creating a global legacy that transcends borders and time. What's remarkable is how these myths, despite their unique cultural flavors, resonate with universal themes: the duality of water as both life-giver and destroyer, the tension between the known and the unknown, and the eternal dance between humanity and nature. These shared motifs reveal a profound truth. Water spirits are not just local legends, they are part of a collective human story, one that unites us in our awe and reverence for the natural world. Consider how the mermaid, a figure beloved in European folklore, finds echoes in West Africa's Mami Wata or the Japanese Ningyo. Though their forms and stories may differ, they share a common essence, a connection to water's mysteries and its power to transform. Similarly, the Celtic Selkies, who shift between seal and human forms, mirror the transformative qualities of water spirits found in Native American and Polynesian traditions. These parallels aren't coincidental. They reflect humanity's shared experiences with water, a force that has shaped our survival, our spirituality, and our stories for millennia. What makes this global legacy so enduring is its adaptability. As myths travel, they absorb new meanings, blending with local beliefs and values to create something entirely unique yet deeply familiar. The Kappa of Japan, for instance, shares traits with the Germanic Nymphs, yet each has evolved to reflect the fears and lessons of its respective culture. This ability to adapt ensures that water spirit myths remain relevant, speaking to the concerns and aspirations of each generation. They are not static relics of the past but living narratives, continually reshaped by the people who tell them. This interconnectedness also highlights the power of storytelling to bridge divides. In a world often fragmented by differences, water spirit myths remind us of the common threads that bind us. They invite us to see ourselves in the stories of others, to recognize the shared wonder and fear that water inspires in all of us. Whether as protectors, tricksters, or guides, these beings offer a universal language, one that transcends geography and history to speak to the heart of what it means to be human. Looking ahead, the legacy of water spirit myths continues to shape the stories we tell. In literature, film, and art, these beings are reimagined for modern audiences, their symbolism adapted to explore contemporary themes. They inspire environmental activism, personal spirituality, and even scientific inquiry, proving that their power to captivate and provoke thought is as strong as ever. As we navigate the challenges of the future, these myths remind us of the wisdom embedded in our shared heritage, urging us to approach the world with curiosity, respect, and a sense of connection. In the end, water spirit myths are more than just stories. They are a testament to humanity's enduring relationship with water, a force that has shaped our past and will continue to shape our future. They remind us that no matter where we come from, we are all part of the same great narrative, one that flows like a river through time, uniting us in its currents. And as we move forward, we'll explore how these ancient tales continue to inspire new generations, weaving their magic into the stories yet to be told. As we stand at the crossroads of climate crises and technological leaps, the ancient myths of water spirits are poised to take on new significance. In a world where rising sea levels, droughts, and pollution dominate headlines, these timeless stories offer more than just folklore. They provide a lens through which we can confront the challenges of our time. Imagine for a moment a future where water spirits are no longer just figures of myth but symbols of resilience and adaptation. As rivers dry up and oceans acidify, the tales of Naiads, Kappas, and Mami Wata might evolve to reflect our collective struggle to restore balance to the natural world. These myths, once rooted in the mysteries of water, could become powerful narratives of hope and stewardship, urging us to protect what we once took for granted. Technology, too, will play a role in reshaping these stories. Virtual reality and augmented reality could bring water spirits to life in ways our ancestors could never have imagined. Picture a future where you don a headset and find yourself standing at the edge of a digital river, face to face with a Rusalka who tells you the story of her vanishing home. These immersive experiences could transform myths into interactive lessons, connecting us more deeply to the environmental crises we face. Far from diluting their power, technology might amplify it, making these ancient beings more relevant than ever in a world that desperately needs their wisdom. But the evolution of water spirit myths isn't just about adapting to new challenges, it's also about reclaiming their original purpose. Long before climate change became a global concern, these stories were tools for understanding and navigating the natural world. They taught respect for water, a resource as vital as it was unpredictable. In the age of environmental degradation, this message is more urgent than ever. By reimagining water spirits as guardians of sustainability, we can draw on their symbolic power to inspire action. A modern retelling of the Taniwha, for instance, might emphasize its role as a protector of endangered ecosystems, its wrath awakened not by disrespect but by pollution and overuse. At the same time, these myths could serve as a bridge between the past and the future, connecting ancient wisdom with modern science. Indigenous knowledge, often rooted in the same reverence for water that gave rise to these spirits, is increasingly recognized as a vital resource in addressing climate change. By integrating these perspectives, water spirit myths can become a shared language, uniting diverse cultures in the fight to preserve our planet's waters. They remind us that environmental stewardship isn't just a scientific or political issue, it's a deeply human one, tied to the stories we tell and the values we hold. As we look ahead, it's clear that water spirit myths are far from relics of the past. They are living narratives evolving to meet the needs of each new generation. Whether as symbols of environmental activism, sources of technological inspiration, or bridges between cultures, these beings continue to captivate and challenge us. Their stories remind us that water is not just a resource, it's a source of life, mystery, and connection, binding us to each other and to the planet we call home. And as we move forward, they invite us to imagine a future where humanity and nature coexist in harmony, guided by the timeless wisdom of the waters. This brings us to the final reflections on the enduring power of water spirit myths, a journey that has taken us from the sacred rivers of ancient civilizations to the digital landscapes of the future. Through it all, one truth remains: these stories are not just about water, they are about us, our fears, our hopes, and our place in the world. And as long as water flows, their legacy will continue to shape the way we see and care for the world around us.